You ever felt the weight of rejection, the sting of being ignored, the silent scream of your worth being questioned? Stop. Just stop. You don't chase what doesn't chase you. You don't beg for respect that isn't freely given. You don't waste your words explaining yourself to people who are too blind to see your value. Your silence, that's your weapon. That quiet strength, that unshakable calm becomes your superpower. While they scramble to understand you're building, thriving, evolving. Every unanswered call, every ignored text, every closed door, don't see it as loss. See it as a signal that the universe is protecting your energy. Those who belong in your life will recognize your worth without drama. Those who doubt you will fade while you rise. Master your silence because it's not emptiness. It's power. It's dignity. It's a mirror that reflects your true self without compromise. When you stop chasing, stop begging, stop explaining, you free yourself from weakness. You become unstoppable. Your presence will speak louder than your words ever could, and your life will become a testament to the power of restraint, patience, and self-respect. Own it. Live it. Become untouchable. Have you ever felt the urge to shout, to defend yourself, to justify your existence to someone who refuses to see your worth? That feeling, the ache, the frustration, the desperation is familiar to all of us. Society tells you that you must constantly prove yourself, explain every decision, chase every opportunity, and beg for recognition. But the truth, the hard, unshakable truth, is that strength lies not in noise, but in silence. Silence is not a retreat. Silence is not a surrender. Silence is a declaration of power so profound that words can't even contain it. When you stop chasing, when you stop begging, when you stop explaining, you step into a dimension where your presence alone becomes a statement, where your actions speak louder than any argument or justification ever could. It is in that stillness that your true power emerges. Every time you feel the need to explain yourself to someone who refuses to understand, remember this: those who matter will see your value without the need for justification. Those who matter will respect you without you asking. Those who belong in your life will recognize your light without you trying to illuminate it for them. Silence is not a void. It is a shield, a mirror, a weapon. It protects your energy from being drained by those who are too small to appreciate your greatness. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, building, growing, evolving, and rising above mediocrity. Every unanswered call, every ignored message, every door that closes without explanation is not rejection, it is liberation. It is the universe's way of telling you that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on anything less than what aligns with your destiny. When you embrace silence, you discover the hidden strength within yourself. You realize that. Validation does not come from outside, it comes from inside. You realize that the approval of the weak, the insecure, or the small-minded is meaningless in the face of your own conviction. You begin to understand that every moment spent defending yourself, explaining your choices, or chasing approval is a moment stolen from your own growth. And growth is where true power lies. Growth is where resilience is forged. Growth is where the strongest version of you is born, not from noise or begging, but from the quiet, unwavering confidence that you do not need to justify your existence to anyone. Think about it. Those who have built empires, who have achieved greatness, who have left legacies, did not waste their time chasing or explaining. They let their results speak. They let their lives speak. They let their silence speak. Silence is the language of confidence, of control, of untouchable power. When you master silence, you learn patience, the kind of patience that allows you to wait for the right opportunities, the right people, and the right moments. You learn restraint, the ability to hold back words that would weaken your position, actions that would drain your energy, and emotions that would cloud your judgment. You learn respect, the most important respect, the respect for yourself. Silence is also a mirror. It reflects back to you who you really are, without the influence of outside noise. In silence, you meet yourself. You face your fears, your desires, your weaknesses, and your strengths. You confront the parts of you that need to be refined, strengthened, and empowered. And when you emerge from that silence, you emerge stronger, more confident, more focused, and more unstoppable than ever before. You no longer depend on anyone to validate your existence. You no longer bend to the opinions of those who do not matter. You no longer allow the noise of the world to penetrate your inner peace. In that calm, in that focus, in that unshakable silence, you find your upper power, the power that comes not from what you say, but from what you are. The world is loud. It is chaotic. It demands explanations, seeks attention, and thrives on drama. But the silent ones, the ones who do not chase, who do not beg, who do not waste energy on the approval of the unworthy, these are the ones who rise above. These are the ones who create real impact, real success, and real legacy. Silence gives you clarity. It gives you control. It gives you the ability to watch, to learn, to understand, and to act with precision. While others are busy shouting their worth, you are quietly building yours. While others are scrambling for recognition, you are creating results that demand recognition. While others are losing themselves in noise, you are discovering yourself in stillness. So never underestimate the power of silence. It is strength disguised as calm. It is confidence disguised as restraint. It is influence disguised as invisibility. Your silence becomes your superpower. When you understand that you are enough without explanation, that you are valuable without validation, and that you are unstoppable without chasing anyone's approval, stop justifying yourself. Stop pleading for attention. Stop arguing with those who refuse to see your value. Stand firm in your silence and let the world chase you. Let your life speak. Let your energy attract what is truly worthy. Let your quiet power be the fire that others notice too late. This is not weakness. This is mastery. This is freedom. We should want, how we should behave, and who should be allowed into our lives. Society, friends, family, colleagues, even strangers online constantly whisper, sometimes shout, that our value depends on their recognition. But here is the truth. Nothing in this world can replace the power of self-respect. Self-respect is the armor that shields you from the disappointment, the judgment, and the manipulation of those who refuse to recognize your worth. When you prioritize self-respect above validation from others, you step into a life of freedom, clarity, and unstoppable power. Most people live their lives chasing validation. They scroll endlessly for likes, approval, and praise. They bend themselves, compromise their principles, and dilute their dreams just to be acknowledged, to be accepted, to be liked. But this kind of validation is fleeting. It is unstable, conditional, and fragile. One day you are celebrated. The next day you are ignored. One day they admire you. The next day they criticize. When your self-worth is tied to the opinions of others, your life becomes a pendulum of highs and lows, constantly swinging with the moods, biases, and insecurities of people who have no real stake in your greatness. Validation from others is external, temporary, and unreliable. Self-respect, on the other hand, is internal, unshakable, and eternal. Self-respect is refusing to beg for attention. It is refusing to apologize for existing. It is refusing to diminish your light to make someone else comfortable. It is honoring your values, your principles, and your boundaries, even when the world pressures you to compromise. When you respect yourself, you no longer chase those who do not see your worth. You no longer waste energy explaining your choices. You no longer tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or abuse disguised as affection. Your self-respect sets the standard for how others may treat you, and it sends a message that you will accept nothing less than what aligns with your integrity. The world will always try to convince you that your value depends on someone else's acknowledgement. It will tell you that love, friendship, success, or respect must be earned through sacrifice, compromise, or constant approval seeking. But the moment you choose self-respect over validation, you reclaim your power. You realize that you are already enough, already worthy, already capable. You no longer need to justify your actions or prove your value. You no longer hand over your energy to those who cannot appreciate it. Instead, you channel that energy into building yourself, your life, and your vision without distraction or compromise. Choosing self-respect over validation also teaches you the art of discernment. It trains you to recognize who belongs in your life and who does not. It allows you to differentiate between those who genuinely care and those who are only interested in what you can give them. When you respect yourself, you become magnetic to people who honor the same standard. You attract relationships, opportunities, and experiences that are aligned with your value rather than desperate attempts to impress others. You stop participating in petty games of comparison and competition because you understand that your worth does not need to be measured against anyone else's. Self-respect is also the foundation of true confidence. It is waking up each morning knowing that your choices are guided by integrity, not the desire for approval. It is moving through the world unshakable, even when others doubt you. Confidence born from self-respect does not seek permission. It commands presence. People will notice not because you beg to be seen, but because your authenticity radiates with undeniable force. And when you combine the self-respect with action, discipline, and consistency, you become unstoppable. You achieve not because others validate you, but because you honor your own standards, push your own limits, and refuse to settle for anything less than what you know you deserve. There will always be critics, doubters, and those who try to undermine your confidence. There will always be voices telling you that you are not enough, not talented enough, not deserving enough. When your worth is dependent on their validation, these voices can destroy you. But when your worth is grounded in self-respect, their opinions are powerless. Criticism becomes a tool for reflection, not a weapon for self-doubt. Rejection becomes a filter, not a condemnation. Disappointment becomes a lesson, not a reason to abandon yourself. You no longer live to satisfy others, you live to honor yourself. Ultimately, the choice between self-respect and validation from others is the defining choice of a life well lived. Self-respect allows you to live authentically, act boldly, and rise above mediocrity. Validation from others keeps you trapped in the endless cycle of seeking approval, fearing rejection, and compromising your soul. Self-respect. CT is your foundation, your compass, and your shield. Validation from others is optional, temporary, and irrelevant to the power of a person who knows their own value. So stand firm, refuse to lower your standards, refuse to compromise your principles, refuse to give your energy to those who do not deserve it. Value yourself first above all else. When you do, you will discover a life of clarity, confidence, and fulfillment. You will realize that you do not need the world's approval to succeed, to be happy, or to be extraordinary. Your self-respect becomes the force that drives you forward, the lens through which you see opportunities, and the fire that fuels your ambition. Hold it high, protect it fiercely, let it guide every decision, every action, and every step of your journey. Self-respect is not arrogance. It is not selfishness. Silent, unyielding power that transforms lives, commands respect, and attracts what is truly aligned with your value. Self-respect, validation from others. Because when you honor yourself, the world has no choice but to recognize the strength, dignity, and brilliance that has always been yours. There is a fundamental truth in life that most people never fully grasp. The things that are meant for you will not need to be chased. Every day, people waste their time, their energy, their emotions on chasing opportunities, validation, love, and recognition that are not meant for them. They text, call, explain, and prove themselves over and over, believing that persistence equals results. But there is a power far greater than persistence. It is the power of energy, the kind of energy that attracts rather than chases, that draws rather than pursues, that commands rather than begs. Once you understand this, your entire life changes. Chasing is a reflection of desperation. When you chase, you give away your power. You signal insecurity, neediness, and a lack of self-belief. People sense it immediately. Whether it is in relationships, friendships, career opportunities, or business, those who chase rarely succeed in the way they hope. They exhaust themselves. They compromise their standards. They surrender their dignity. Chasing is an endless loop of uncertainty, frustration, and disappointment because it relies on something external to define your worth or determine your future. It is weak energy in motion, noisy and visible, but powerless. Attraction, on the other hand, is magnetic. It is silent, confident, and unshakable. When you cultivate your energy, your focus, your discipline, your values, your skills, you create a force that draws the right people, opportunities, and circumstances towards you naturally. You do not need to explain, plead, or beg. Your energy speaks for itself. Think of it like gravity. You cannot chase gravity. You cannot force it to act. You simply exist, and it acts. The stronger your presence, the more undeniable your essence, the more naturally life aligns with you. This is the principle of attraction in action. Energy attracts, it does not pursue. The people and opportunities that are aligned with your life will be drawn to your energy without you having to chase them. When you stop running after approval, you become magnetic to those who respect, value, and understand your worth. When you stop running after love, you allow those who are truly compatible to enter your life without effort or compromise. When you stop chasing success, you focus on your craft, your mindset, and your discipline, and the right doors open naturally. Chasing is exhausting, attraction is effortless, but it requires patience, self-belief, and inner growth. Energy is not about charisma or showmanship. It is about the internal state that radiates outward. It is confidence, clarity, purpose, and self-respect combined into a force that others cannot ignore. Oh, you cultivate this energy through discipline, self-improvement, and unwavering focus on your own goals and values. You stop worrying about the opinions of others. You stop bending to external pressures. You stop proving yourself to anyone who does not see your worth. Instead, you focus on mastering yourself, on strengthening your mind, body, and spirit, on building a life so powerful that the universe is compelled to respond. Chasing is rooted in fear, the fear of loss, the fear of missing out, the fear that you are not enough. Attraction is rooted in confidence, the unshakable knowledge that you are enough, that what belongs in your life will naturally gravitate to you, and that nothing external can diminish your worth. When you shift your mindset from chasing to attracting, you release the tension and anxiety that comes from trying to control what you cannot control. You let go of desperation. You let go of dependency. You let go of the need to manipulate outcomes, and in doing so, you step into a state of flow where everything moves with precision, harmony, and ease. This does not mean you do nothing. Energy does not replace effort. It enhances it. You work harder, smarter, and with more focus because you are no longer distracted by fruitless pursuits. You invest in yourself, in your skills, in your relationships, and in your growth. You take deliberate action, but you do so from a position of power, not from a place of desperation. You are not reacting to the world's whims. You are creating your own momentum, and the universe responds to that momentum naturally. Chasing is exhausting because it relies on others' timelines. Attraction is effortless because it relies on your own. When you chase, you are at the mercy of someone else's decisions, moods, and availability. When you attract, you operate from your own rhythm, your own energy, your own standards. You become untouchable by rejection because your value is self-contained. You are not begging for validation, not pleading for attention, not compromising your dignity. You are simply growing, evolving, and living your truth. The moment you stop chasing, your life shifts. The wrong people fall away naturally, the wrong opportunities reveal themselves quickly, and the right ones appear without struggle, without begging, without compromise. Life becomes a reflection of the energy you emit, not the desperation you attempt to impose. You learn that control is not in pursuit, but in presence. That power is not in pleading, but in quiet confidence. That success, love, respect, and fulfillment do not come to those who chase. They come to those who embody the energy that draws them naturally. Stop chasing. Stop begging. Stop explaining. Focus on your energy, your growth, and your standards. Cultivate a life so full of purpose, strength, and clarity that everything aligned with you is drawn toward you effortlessly. Remember, energy attracts. It does not pursue. When you live by this principle, you are no longer a victim of circumstance, a slave to approval, or a prisoner of desperation. You are a force, a magnet, a creator of your own destiny. This is the power of stopping the chase and letting your energy lead the way. There is a lie that society teaches us from the moment we are born that our value must be earned, proven, or negotiated. From childhood, we are measured against grades, achievements, appearances, popularity, and the approval of others. From the workplace to relationships, we are told that if we want to matter, if we want to be loved, if we want to succeed, we must fight for recognition, bargain for respect, and justify our existence. But here's the truth that no one will ever tell you in a way that hits as hard as it should. Your worth is inherent. It is not conditional. It is not something you earn, and it is certainly not something anyone else gets to decide. Your worth exists simply because you exist, and understanding this is the single most powerful realizati you can ever have. Too many people spend their lives negotiating their value. They lower themselves to fit in. They compromise their morals, principles, and standards to gain approval. They apologize for being themselves, as if their existence is a favor to the world. They chase recognition, attention, and praise from people who are incapable of seeing their true brilliance, and in the process, they dilute themselves. They sacrifice their peace, their integrity, and even their happiness in exchange for validation that is fleeting, conditional, and unreliable. But the moment you understand that your worth is inherent, you break free from all of this. You stop begging. You stop compromising. You stop trading your soul for someone else's approval. You stop negotiating your value because you finally realize that it was never up for negotiation in the first place. Inherent worth is quiet but unshakable. It does not require demonstration, justification, or performance. It does not need accolades, attention, or permission. It is your foundation, the unmovable core of who you are. And when you recognize it, your entire life shifts. You stop tolerating disrespect because you understand that no one has the right to treat you as though you are less than you are. You stop accepting mediocrity from yourself and others because you recognize that your standards are non-negotiable. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself because the truth cannot be argued against. You are enough, simply as you are. Too often, people confuse their accomplishments with their worth. They believe that success, money, social status, or recognition defines them. They believe that if they fail, or if others do not validate them, they are somehow inadequate. This is the trap. Your worth is not earned through achievements or external approval. Your worth is intrinsic, permanent, and non-negotiable. It is the reason you breathe, the reason you exist, and the reason you have the capacity to create, love, and endure. Understanding this allows you to live from a place of power, confidence, and freedom rather than fear, insecurity, and desperation. When you truly believe that your worth is inherent, it changes the way you interact with the world. You no longer settle for people, opportunities, or situations that do not align with your value. You no longer allow others to manipulate, belittle, or undervalue you. You recognize toxic dynamics instantly and remove yourself without hesitation because you know that you are not obligated to negotiate your dignity. Your choices become empowered. Your actions become deliberate. Your presence becomes commanding. People begin to notice, not because you beg to be seen, but because your confidence radiates from a truth that cannot be denied. Inherent worth also brings liberation. It frees you from the constant cycle of comparison, envy, and competition. When you know that your value is not dependent on others' opinions, you stop measuring ourself against anyone else. You stop envying the lives, successes, or approval of others because you understand that you are already complete, whole, and capable. You start to focus on growth for yourself, not for recognition. You start to pursue your purpose, passion, and excellence because it aligns with your own standards, not because someone else told you to. And this is where true power begins. When you act from alignment with your intrinsic value rather than reaction to the world's judgment, the world will always try to convince you that your worth is negotiable. There will always be people who dismiss you, underestimate you, or attempt to place conditions on your value. There will always be situations where you are tempted to compromise or conform just to fit in or be accepted. But when you embrace your inherent worth, you see through these illusions. You understand that no one can give you value because you already have it. No one can take it from you unless you allow them to. And no one can dictate your standards unless you surrender them. Recognizing this truth is not arrogance, it is mastery. It is the foundation of self-respect, confidence, and unstoppable momentum in every area of your life. Your worth being inherent is not a philosophical concept. It is a call to action. It is a reminder that you do not owe anyone your justification, your time, your energy, or your peace. It is a declaration that you will no longer negotiate your value for acceptance, love, or success. It is an invitation to live with integrity, self-respect, and unwavering confidence. And the moment you internalize this, your life changes. The wrong people fall away. The right opportunities align naturally. Your presence commands respect. Your energy attracts what is worthy. And the unnecessary struggle to prove yourself disappears because you finally understand the ultimate truth. You are enough simply because you exist. Your worth is not earned. It is not negotiated. It is in her. And when you live by this truth, you step into a power, freedom, and clarity that no external validation can ever give. There is a misconception that power is loud, aggressive, and chaotic. Many believe that to dominate, to succeed, or to lead, you must always be on the move, always reacting, always fighting, always in a state of chaos. The world celebrates noise, drama, and urgency, confusing them with strength. But true power is never found in frenzy. True power comes from calm. It is measured, intentional, and unwavering. It is not about making the most noise, shouting the loudest, or forcing your way through every obstacle. True power is quiet, controlled, and absolute. It is the stillness in the storm, the presence that commands without demanding, the force that moves mountains without unnecessary effort. Calmness is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is not apathy. It is clarity of mind, discipline of spirit, and mastery of self. While others lose themselves in panic, house, or emotional turmoil, the person who understands the power of calm remains composed, decisive, and strategic. Calmness allows you to see what others cannot see. It allows you to analyze situations, understand motivations, and act with precision. Chaos clouds judgment. Noise creates distractions. Panic leads to mistakes. Calmness, however, is a superpower. It is the foundation from which all successful action flows. When you are calm, you control your energy rather than letting external events control it. You are not a puppet of circumstance, emotion, or the whims of others. While people around you react impulsively, overthink, and make poor decisions fueled by fear or desperation, your calm presence allows you to operate from a position of advantage. Decisions made in chaos are often short-sighted and flawed. Decisions made in calm are deliberate, strategic, and powerful. The ability to remain composed under pressure is a hallmark of true leaders, visionaries, and creators. It is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who merely survive. Calmness also amplifies influence. People are drawn to those who are grounded, measured, and unshakable. In moments of crisis, it is the calm person who inspires confidence, the calm person whose words carry weight, and the calm person whose actions create results. Chaos attracts chaos. Panic spreads panic. But calm creates stability, trust, and authority. When you embody calmness, you do not need to prove yourself with aggression or noise. Your presence alone communicates strength, and people instinctively recognize it. You become magnetic, not because you are loud or forceful, but because you are centered and in control. Many confuse action with chaos. They believe that being constantly busy, reacting to every challenge, or expressing every emotion is a sign of power. But true action is measured. True power lies in knowing when to act and when to wait. It is the ability to remain unmoved by provocation, criticism, or setbacks. It is the understanding that control over oneself is the most valuable currency in life. Every great warrior, thinker, and leader throughout history knew this. They understood that emotional outbursts, overreactions, and impulsive decisions only diminish strength. Calmness, however, creates momentum that is unstoppable and long-lasting. In chaos, people lose themselves. They chase, beg, and explain. They compromise their principles, react irrationally, and allow emotions to dictate decisions. Calmness, on the other hand, allows you to maintain integrity, make strategic choices, and conserve energy for what truly matters. While the world around you collapses in drama, you remain focused, deliberate, and patient. You are not swayed by the opinions of the impatient or manipulated by the fears of the insecure. You move with purpose, guided by clarity, not noise. True power also comes from the internal mastery that calmness requires. It is the ability to control your thoughts, manage your emotions, and act intentionally. It is the knowledge that the most profound influence comes from restraint, not indulgence, from patience, not impulsiveness, from strategy, not reaction. When you cultivate calmness, you become untouchable by chaos. You can navigate challenges that would overwhelm others. You can turn setbacks into opportunities. You can transform obstacles into stepping stones. Chaos will always exist in the world, but when you remain calm, you become the anchor amidst the storm, the force that others rely on, and the presence that cannot be shaken. Calmness is also a form of power because it is rare. Most people operate in constant motion, constantly reacting, and constantly overwhelmed. In a world addicted to noise, drama, and chaos, the calm individual immediately stands out. Calmness commands respect because it reflects discipline, mastery, and confidence. It demonstrates that you are not a victim of circumstance, that your energy is controlled, that your power is self-contained. When others are panicking, you are analyzing. When others are reacting, you are planning. When others are losing control, you are taking the lead. This is true strength, and it is far more effective than brute force or loud aggression. The irony is that calmness does not mean inaction. True power is not passive. Calmness allows for strategic action. It allows you to focus on what truly matters rather than being distracted by irrelevant chaos. Calmness allows you to conserve energy for moments that require precision, courage, and decisiveness. Chaos spreads energy thin, creates mistakes, and leaves destruction in its wake. Calmness channels energy, maximizes impact, and ensures lasting results. True power comes from calm, not chaos. It is cultivated through discipline, patience, self-awareness, and intentionality. It is expressed through measured words, deliberate action, and unwavering presence. It is magnetic, untouchable, and unstoppable. The others are caught in the whirlwind of noise, drama, and reaction. The calm individual becomes a force that shapes the world around them.